Morning, my name's Nut.
Very nut, yes.
Very nutty indeed.
And I'm
with
Robert,
my
and
colleague,
I am the C5 breaker.
With my colleague Robert, well,
The C5
best mate.
breaker, yeah. Yeah, that one.
He's the C5 breaker, I'm the C5 nut. So, it's Friday. I think it's day 3 in my reality and possibly day 2 for yours. So, obviously yesterday, Robert's old car and my new car broke down. Where it kind of, yeah, I bought a lemon.
It exploded.
But I'll tell you what, so the car was full, and I mean full to the brim. We're in the process of emptying it out, and I just had to do a video of how much can you actually get into a Citroen C5 estate.
Apparently a lot.
Well, even I was blown away by this, and I know these cars really well, right?
No, you just don't try hard enough.
So the top box was on the roof. That weighs an absolute ton. There's 2 boxes there. There's a big box there, 2 speakers, load of bits, all of these,
and other various things.
and yes, there's a lot of bottles of wine and God knows what else, chairs, boxes,
And the big camping cooker.
yeah,
Right, so
all of these. So it's got quite a lot of DJ equipment. We've put that in the front cab, so that's a lot of stuff. Yeah, blown away. Hi all, it's me again. Right, so we've just finished setting up camp. Obviously my van's all set up. I've got like load of lights going across here and across down there and God knows what else. Robert's and Sarah's trailer tent, Steve's trailer tent, Ian's little caravan. Obviously, again, many thanks to the guys down at Enterprise for helping us out with a broken down car and give us a van. Let's have a look. So, obviously, Friday is based down for Robert's and Sarah's wedding, but the main event is the Northern Rally, Northern Citroen Car Show Rally. So, right, so lucky enough, a couple of buildings. Now, I will say I've never been to this event before. Obviously, I went to Robert's wedding last year, but right, so yeah, look at that. That's the wedding car, a lovely DS. Right. Boy Wonders asked me to get something, so I'm going to quickly go and get it for him. Let's go and do it.
Driver assistance needed because we do something in the bend's a little bit too sharp.
This is where the disco is going to be. Nice little room.
Mine stays back in.
Until you put your indicator on or something.
Behind the counter.
Yeah, you have to give it resistance. Yeah,
Mine's got it on that corner.
yeah, really? Yeah, you start to or you indicate
So it's behind here and then it's not here.
and it picks up the right line before you're there. Yeah. And it's like, I don't need to indicate that, I'm not at the end of the stick to get onto the dual code. And my car's pushing me.
Right, well, I can't see what he wanted. Little kitchen area. Unless it's out here. Oh, look at this. Oh my days.
Well, you can have bacon, sausage.
That's nuts. That is nuts. Oh yeah, definitely good nuts.
Sausage, beans, tomatoes, hash brown.
Right, let's zoom out. Still a bit chaotic, obviously, with what's going on. Look at all this. Right, I've got to do my duties. Be back in a mo.
Just to recharge.
I have got batteries in my bag, but now she's here, we'll get it. Okay, so welcome to the wedding of Robert and Sarah. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic, we'll keep at this volume. So my name's Rachel Meyer, I'm a wedding celebrant accredited with Humanists UK, and I'm delighted to be here today to conduct a very special and unique wedding ceremony for our bride and groom. We do have an official photographer here today, but feel free to take as many photos as you like. Robert and Sarah said the more the merrier. And we are having it videoed as well. So if you haven't already though, please do put your phones on silent. At the end of the ceremony, in around half an hour, our bride and groom will sashay back down the aisle once more as husband and wife. And I'm pretty sure there is going to be lots of drinks and food and speeches.
Yes.
And merriment as this weekend's fun continues. So let us get this wedding ceremony started with the moment that everyone has been waiting for since Robert proposed to Sarah beautifully in front of many of you at the last rally. So please stand if you are able and welcome with your warmest smile. Thank you,
Wow.
everyone. Please do take a seat. So a huge welcome again to everyone here, and on behalf of our bride and groom, thank you for being part of Sarah's and Robert's wedding day. As you already know, this milestone event was originally scheduled for this very event in 2021. Our bride and groom were adamant that because you are all such a big part of their lives, they wanted you to witness their wedding vows and help them celebrate their wedding day. And also, they wanted to have a wedding day that no one's ever had before. When COVID hit and the rally was postponed, they chose to do the legal part of their ceremony quietly and separately to get it done. They had a fantastic day, and some of you were able to join them. But they wanted to reschedule their main wedding day for today. So in this humanist wedding ceremony, with a year of marriage already behind them, Sarah and Robert will renew their lifetime promises and include other sprinklings of magic that weren't possible the first time round. They wanted to say a huge thank you to Alan, who gave his blessing for this wedding to happen here today, to Nigel and Ben for arranging it so magnificently, to Robert's long-standing family friend, James, who'll be reading some words later, won't be reading any words. That was yesterday. Today, no. To Ben for organising the rally. To Ian, to David, thank you for providing the wedding car. To Hannah, to Jean, Charlie, to Mandy, Robert's mum, to Deanna, his sister, our music operator. To Mick, Sarah's dad, and to his wife Elisa. To Selena, yes, for the lovely flowers.
Yeah.
To Alfie, to Sarah's dad, and Uncle David for supplying and running the disco, and to everyone else for your friendship, fun, and support over the years. Hopefully I haven't missed anyone out. Today we are all here to celebrate the official union of two people in love with a ceremony that reflects them, shares their story, and marks with meaning this incredible milestone in life. Robert and Sarah are two very positive, unique individuals who believe that life, despite its challenges, is about seizing the moment, enjoying the good times, and making memories, because as well as the storms, there is a lot of sunshine in the world. And as Robert said, if you didn't have rain, you'd never appreciate the sun. Testament. There we are, all smiling.
So what it was
All
last year.
smiling.
It's not, it wasn't this bad last year.
So Robert and Sarah, a wedding day does start a brand new chapter in your story. Of course, life is never perfect. Love naturally ebbs and flows, and no marriage is 100% plain sailing. So before we continue, a little formality about your commitment and devotion to each other's lifelong happiness. So Sarah and Robert together answer this. Do you come here today of your own free will, prepared to enjoy and commit to being together for the rest of your lives? Do you promise an equal partnership without ownership on either side and with joint responsibility for the success of your relationship? And do you stand here with love in your hearts and with eyes wide open for the possibilities, the experiences, the adventures, the joys and the challenges that lay ahead in your shared future?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Fantastic. You can step to one side and you can hold hands, and Sarah, you can breathe.
Hi, darling. Hello.
You look so colourful. It's fantastic. You look amazing. Love is remarkable. It's the one thing that as humans, it connects us all. It's the one thing that we all seek for mental and physical fulfillment. We never know how or with whom or when we will find it. So when two people who happen to live over the road from each other, go to the same sixth form, bump into each other years later, are drawn to one another and look after each other. When two people can drive happily thousands of miles across Europe together and live in a caravan twice successfully. When two people can support and stand by one another and find new opportunities together in unprecedented circumstances. When two people make each other feel so happy, secure and content. And when these two people can't imagine life apart. That kind of love and dedication is majestic, and it's worth cementing and celebrating. Getting married marks a line in the sand for Robert and Sarah. It creates a oneness that just being together can't. It's a mutual agreement, a promise in front of witnesses to be honest and true to one another, to truly trust and love each other, to care for, to provide for, guide and love each other, and its financial, lawful and emotional security. Do you two want to take a seat while we go right back to the beginning?
I've learned how to do this.
No, don't come on sitting on it, don't panic.
The nails as well.
Sarah was born in 1995 and grew up in a multi-generational home in Scarborough. She was surrounded by family and grandparents. Sarah was particularly close to her nana, who sadly died in 2015, and she has really fond memories of sharing a glass of Baileys with her. Always extremely creative, Sarah was a dab hand with hammer bead designs. Always hard-working. From being a teenager, she waitressed and worked in a restaurant kitchen and a fish and chip shop. A little further south, in Stevenage, Robert was also born in 1995, and he grew up with his parents, his sister, lots of dogs. Sadly, when Robert was 13, his dad David died, and shortly afterwards the family moved to Scarborough, 2 doors down from Sarah's Uncle David and his wife Carrie. Life wasn't easy, and various circumstances made it better for Robert to move out, and eventually into a shared house over the road from Sarah's house. The two of them had met at a pre-sixth form confidence course in school in the summer. They got on, but thought nothing of romance. In his teenage years, Robert volunteered his stage lighting and sound talents at the YMCA Theatre in Scarborough, followed his early interest in cars, and at the age of 20 began his love affair with Citroens, after buying his first one, a Citroen Zara. He became a dad to Alfie, who had a fairly traumatic start in life, with lots of time spent in hospital. Good to see you today, looking great. Life went on with all its various complications, and Robert and Sarah met again at a wedding. They chatted and laughed and just clicked. 8 months later, on the 13th of November 2017, Sarah texted Robert out of the blue at 9 o'clock at night. She wasn't in a good place and thought he might be able to help. He went and picked her up. They drove around and talked, and she felt supported and safe. He asked his mum if she could stay around at their place that evening. Of course, Mandy said yes. And for the whole night, Robert cuddled Sarah on the sofa. He never let her go. After a brief spell in her own place, Sarah moved in with Robert and Mandy for a while. In their first year together, they went on lots of long drives and a couple of extended road trips. They worked and enjoyed each other's company. There was a lot of history in Scarborough for them both, so wanting a fresh start together, they decided to move elsewhere. Halfway through one of her shifts at Flamingo Land, Sarah got a text from Robert saying, "Oops, I think I've just bought a caravan." There was nothing for it but to save up to buy it. Sarah said her first viewing of it was when they went to pick it up. They towed their 6-metre-long new home to Selby, drove it to a campsite and lived in it for 8 months. Robert commuted to Scarborough and Sarah got a job locally. Robert introduced Sarah to the car club and camping. They had lots of lovely, relaxing weekends away, and Sarah began to love the Citroen life as much as Robert. She met a lot of new people, discovered a lot of places she'd never been to, and had a lot of naps in the passenger seat while Robert took the wheel. A couple of years ago, they completed a 3,000-mile road trip. Their first journey saw them head through Europe in Gopher, a black Citroen C5, 2-litre exclusive.
She asked me specifically.
They drove through France, over the Alps to Italy, Lake Como, and then to Switzerland and Luxembourg, and met some new German friends, Tom and Gudrun. At the end of this mammoth journey, they called in at a theme park, which they enjoyed in Holland. The second trip they did was in the Meilen-Muncha. Once on the continent, they drove to Germany to visit Tom and Gudrun, and then followed through to Austria, Venice, to Rome, Pisa, and Paris. A lot of driving. But with Robert behind the wheel, it was very relaxing for Sarah. So relaxing. She nodded off quite often and missed quite a lot. Sarah's and Robert's love of Citroens and the car club proved to provide hours and days and weeks of light relief from the stresses and strains of young parenthood, living with autism, dyslexia, finding a forever home, a constant stream of job changes, and, well, just life in general.
Yeah.
On the 12th of September 2020, at the G Rally in Farnham, Robert took Sarah totally by surprise, and with a small crowd watching and Hannah on the video,
Back on it.
Back on it again.
he got down on one knee and asked Sarah to be his wife. She was completely overwhelmed. I'm sure you've all seen the video. She cried, and of course she said yes. They spent the evening dancing around the campfire, having fun with friends, and they slept the night under the shelter of canvas beneath the stars. They organised their wedding day for the Northern Rally the following year. They postponed it when COVID hit, and last spring got legally wed with a handful of guests and a takeaway in the rain. It's lucky. At a caravan site. A caravan site in Worksop. It was a thoroughly good day with plenty of smiles and good memories. After more house moves and several different jobs. On the 6th of June 2022, Robert and Sarah upped sticks and moved to Nottingham, where they lived first in a trailer tent, then in another caravan. Now they've moved into a beautiful new home. Hopefully they'll last for a while. And they hope to be able to have Alfie to stay a lot more often now.
It's not right to keep this man.
Through all of the challenges they've had, they've found solace in each other. Comfort, support, laughter, adventure, peace, and joy. Together through it all and through the uncertainties of COVID, they've never felt more content, safe, and happy than they have been since finding each other and committing to spending the rest of their lives together. Even though they're very different people, they say they fit together extremely well. They never argue. They may be a bit bitey sometimes, but they are on exactly the same page in terms of their outlook, their values, and their aspirations. Robert never has any issues communicating. He tells it exactly how it is, which is a lesson for all of us. He's honest and he's frank, and he likes any problems to be dealt with immediately, so he can move on to the next thing. To him, the friendship and support and integrity that he and Sarah share in their relationship is key to its success. Sarah says she loves the fact that Robert is always there for her, except when you're trying to reach him on the phone.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
She says he understands her. He pushes her out of her comfort zone to try exciting new things with heaps of encouragement, and he fills her with confidence. He makes her feel loved and supported and cared for. Robert says he loves Sarah because she's bubbly and kind and caring and affectionate. He says that for Sarah, coping on a day-to-day basis with a partner with autism isn't easy, but she's patient and easygoing and kind. She knows his triggers and calming strategies, and she just makes life easier for him. He loves her for that. He says that Sarah just gets him, and he doesn't seem to annoy her. Yes. Might be a different side to that story. Ever positive, they take risks. If you're not happy, do something about it, they said. With Robert's philosophy that they should choose adventure and spontaneity and stress over monotony and unhappiness. Life is never going to be boring for these two. But what it will be is faced and journeyed through together, because both Robert and Sarah are fully committed to being together for the long term. They want to push and manage boundaries and develop as individuals, supporting, not restricting one another. But in getting married, they want to create a bond that's not easily broken. Sarah had always dreamed of getting married, and early on in their relationship, she'd shown Robert her childhood dream wedding day plan that must have had a budget of about £50,000. But Sarah said that she came to realise after meeting her soulmate that a wedding, a marriage, isn't just about a day. It's about commitment. They wanted to make lifetime vows that filled them with joy and give them a reason to work through any problems that they may encounter in their long journey through life. They know that they can rely on each other, and they couldn't imagine a better place to have their wedding day than with all their friends, surrounded by the cars that fuel their passion for travel and fun. We're now at the part of the ceremony in which Sarah and Robert make their vows with you as their witnesses. So Robert and Sarah, please come and stand in the middle and hold hands. Yeah, you can leave it there, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Fine.
Becoming husband and wife is a mutual statement of solidarity and love and respect, a foundation for a family, a marker of permanent and solid partnership. As a sign of your love and dedication to one another, you've decided to renew and refresh your wedding vows and exchange rings one more time. So Alfie, do you want to come bring the rings? You just come over and stand with me here. That's it. Beautiful. Perfect. You stand here for a moment. You don't need to do anything yet. You look amazing. So, you just stand here for a moment. So Robert, looking at Sarah, please repeat after me, one line at a time. Sarah, I vow to love you and be loyal to you.
Sarah, I vow to love you and be loyal to you.
And be your best friend
And be your best friend.
through the good and the bad times.
Through good and bad times.
I promise to laugh with you and confide in you.
Promise to laugh with you and confide in you.
Continue our adventures.
Continue our adventures.
Encourage your dreams.
Your dreams.
And be by your side for the rest of my
And
days.
be by your side for the rest of my days.
Sarah, looking at Robert, repeat after me. Robert, I vow to love you and be loyal to you.
Robert, I vow to love you and be loyal to you.
And be your best friend
And be your best friend
through the good and the bad times.
through the good and the bad times.
I promise to laugh with you
I promise to laugh with you
and confide in you.
and confide in you.
Continue our adventures.
Continue our adventures.
Encourage your dreams
Encourage your dreams
and be by your side
and be by your side
for the rest of my days.
for the rest of my days.
Do you want to give your dad the ring?
The thin one.
Okay. If you put the ring on Sarah's finger.
I've got it. Yeah, that. That way.
That's it. All the way down.
Sarah's confused because she's in the
Yeah,
relationship.
and then just keep it in position. And then looking at Sarah. Sarah, by accepting this ring once more, through poverty and wealth, through health and sickness, do you promise to have, to hold, cherish, support, trust, and be honest with Robert, be his wife, love him, provide for him, and take care of him until only death parts you?
I do.
Brilliant job. You can go sit down now. Fantastic. Robert, by accepting this ring once more, through poverty and wealth and through health and sickness, do you promise to have, hold, cherish, support, trust, and be honest with Sarah, be her husband, love her, provide for her, and take care of her until only death parts you? Robert and Sarah, you are now well and truly married.
Outside.
Robert, you can kiss your bride. Round of applause. So rightly so, Sarah and Robert wanted to end their wedding ceremony and start their party with a bang. So I think we need Ian to come and join us.
Very appropriately dressed.
Very appropriately dressed. So, let me move over here. That's it. So the tradition of sharing a drink from a loving cup, or a quaich as it's known in Scotland, dates back to when it was regarded as a display of partnership and trust between newly married royals. It was their first public act of sharing, and as well as being very romantic, it was very practical. In those days, anything could happen. So Ian, please show everyone the little loving cup. Because this receptacle is held with two hands, both hands will be busy, so the groom can't pull a weapon on his bride.
What weapon?
She didn't pay me enough.
And because both parties will be drinking from the same cup, it also means that the bride has not slipped a deadly poison into the groom's drink. Yet.
I have been here to know.
Total trust, the perfect way to start any marriage. As with every symbolic act, there is a reason for everything. It's the first drink that they'll take together, an act of shared nourishment and a promise of shared fun. Robert and Sarah chose port because it holds meaning for them. It's fortified, strengthened, like them now, husband and wife. It contains spirit, it's aged and full-bodied. It's sweet and rich and potent and made in southern Europe. It's representative of all the travels that they've taken and all the adventures they are yet to have. And it goes very nicely with cheese. So what is not to love? So Ian will pour, and while he's pouring, I will read a short poem, and then our bride and groom will each have a sip of port, Sarah first. You all cheer, they share another kiss, and then we all toast them and go crazy with applause before they walk back down the aisle to meet you and have more drinks. So, if you'd like to hand that to Sarah first, with both hands, Sarah. As you drink, I will read the
I like
poem.
that, right? Yeah, don't spill it, yeah.
Yeah, carefully dressed. So feel free to have the first sip, and then when Sarah's had a sip, you finish the rest off if you want, Robert. Strike hands with me, the glasses brim with spirit, partnership, fun. For love is good, and life is long, and two are best as one. Let's toast the wedding of Sarah and Robert, eager to share their life. May they live it well, be happy, and forever be husband and wife. Everyone, please stand and join me in a toast. To Mr. and Mrs. Taylor.
Mr. and Mrs.
Round Okay, everyone, please go wild. I present to you again, Mr. and Mrs. Taylor!
Hi, mate. Been a busy old day, innit?
It's like a veil, isn't it?
That's better, Ben.
I'm not sure if I'm standing here as chairman of the northern section of the Citron Car Club, or if I'm standing here as his best man. But Robert's asked me to stand here and introduce the speeches. For those who, everyone does know, but the father of the bride. That's me. Go on.
Thank you to everyone for coming to round 2 of Robert and Sarah's wedding. Just like to say, Sarah, you look absolutely beautiful and gorgeous, young lady.
Thank you.
Will always be in my heart. You, Sarah, for 26 and a half years, have had me wrapped around your little finger. You know, this one?
Yeah, no, I do know.
But now, my tummy is getting in the way. We have had a bumpy ride
Yeah.
along the road. But in my heart, you will always be there.
Well,
You have turned into a lovely young lady. From a little cheeky, sassy pants. Keep reaching for the stars, darling. You can achieve anything you can put into your mind. Thank you to the bridesmaids for helping Sarah. No drama has been here yet. in the upcoming weeks, honestly, but today has proven it was all worth it. Rob, look after my little girl, make her happy, like she deserves. So from me, the emotional dad, ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you all to be standing as we say, all the best to the new Mr. and Mrs. Taylor.
Mr. and Mrs.
Taylor.
And Rob, one last thing. Welcome to the family.
sounds great.
All right?
I think it's the turn of the best man. I'm not looking forward to this.
Should we rub the tissues down then, yeah?
I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is, this is exactly the same speech I printed out a year ago. And the bad news is, I haven't had time to make the alterations to the speech in response to the reminder I had to Robert at the beginning of the speech last year that Robert has no right to reply to this, and it is my duty, not job, duty, to take the mick out of him.
Thanks, Ben.
But you've heard most of this before.
You said you kept quite a lot of it back.
No, I've just got 2 things to add to it. But as you know, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I must say thank you, not thank you, how lovely that the bride and the bridesmaids look today, and it's been an excellent evening so far. Anyone getting married in the future will have a high bar to reach to get above the Robert and Sarah wedding. We've set the standards. So, as I said last year, I've already given a clue to this. Robert, you paying attention? Ground rules. I don't know how many weddings you've been to. Well, you've been to your own before, haven't you?
Ben, watch your head.
I know, I can feel it. I'm fine. But I'm guessing in the 20s. But the best man's speech is this opportunity to embarrass you on behalf of everyone here.
Thanks.
To so that those who, well, everyone does know what you really like, will get to know what you really like. You just have to sit there and blush. You don't have to say anything. Don't say anything. It's also my job to make Sarah laugh and not cry.
Yeah, okay.
I first met Robert in this very location in Wetherby. This is what I wrote last year, expecting to make me speech here, but I did make me speech in the Midlands. But about 5 years ago, Robert had a Citroen, strangely for a Citroen Rally, and he asked me to look at a problem he had with his car. I said, well mate, that's totally, completely and royally broken. You thought I was going to swear, didn't you? I could only describe it as broken, completely broken, only repairable by a professional at a cost. But as far as we know, when I wrote this car was still sitting opposite his mum's house, rusting away. But since then, the council maybe take it away, didn't they?
Yes.
Yes.
I could make jokes about Citroen's rusting here, but I've got a Citroen outside that only has a small amount of rust in it. Yeah, this isn't the time and place to talk about rusty Citroens. One thing that isn't rusting, however, is Robert's love for Sarah. And now it's time for the character assassination. I will add a small redeeming factor at the end to make the audience happy and think he's not too bad really, but you know, yeah.
Love you too.
Robert has a very strong sense of right and wrong. Robert's always right and you're always wrong. Family's laughing a lot there. Robert is a kind lad. He has a good perspective on life and he's always willing to help other people and offer guidance, assistance and I told you so comments.
Yeah.
And because Robert's never wrong and it's never his fault, none of these stories actually happened, did they? I'm just, as I said, Robert...
No comment.
No comments. You're messing your life about being married to Sarah to be told what to do.
Yeah, I'm not allowed about that, man.
You can be, you want to be.
Can I? Alright, okay.
Robert has an opinion on most things mechanical. When I first met him, he'd used his polishing machine on a car here, pressing so hard, he'd worn all the paint away on a door. That was a red car that was rusting away opposite his mum's house.
ZX.
Yeah. He said, what can I do about this? I went, nothing, it needs a respray. But obviously that wasn't Robert's fault. Robert's favourite tool when he's doing mechanical repairs is a hammer. For mechanical persuasion. If it won't move, hit it with a hammer. If it still won't move, hit it with a bigger hammer. And then get a saw out and cut the thing off. And then find you were trying to turn it the wrong way. Again, it wasn't his fault.
But that one might be.
Another time it wasn't wrong was when he was driving down a dark country road in North Yorkshire, near York, and he saw a parked police car and a copper with a torch. Robert said he knew the copper was looking for something, but he didn't know what. As he passed the policeman, he accelerated, Robert's favourite pedal, and he felt a bump as he hit the dog that the policeman was looking for. The dog survived, and the cop stopped Robert and gave him some stern words, but again, it wasn't his fault he hit the dog.
The dog ran
Dog ran into the car.
While sticking on not Robert's fault, last time I met Robert at a Citroen Rally was a month ago in Buckinghamshire, and he arrived quite late, having picked up Sarah from work, and hadn't had any dinner. So we proceeded to go to the Delightful Emporium McDonald's Restaurants Limited. So a delightful restaurant. On parking in the empty car park, as it was gone 10 o'clock at night, Robert drove straight into the curb. It wasn't his fault, it wasn't his fault. And then when we got back in the car, we reversed off the curb to a lot of scrapey, grindy noises. And hit the bumper of his car. But it wasn't his fault, he said.
Half of it.
Yeah. It was only half. Yeah.
We talked about some issues on stresses in the run-up to the wedding. made worse yesterday by Robert's car expiring outside my house
Rather spectacular.
in a pool of suspension oil, staining my road. There's no way parking onto my drive.
Pretty much from the main road, there's a trail all the way down to your house, I think.
There's a trail all the way down the road, so it's like a French snail that's left its slime behind. But it wasn't Robert's fault the car broke, just because he overloaded it with enough stuff to fill a van. It wasn't his fault he overloaded it and broke his car. But never mind, spare car won't have storage now. But again, not his fault. But like all good mechanics, Robert does know his limits. He dare not try fitting a tow bar, and so he asked for my help, so he could blame me when it went wrong.
And it did.
Excuse me, and then you and Nigel ended up redoing it again.
Because you done it wrong, and Nigel spotted.
You know.
Robert didn't have the balls to take a saw to cut a hole in his bumper, so he demanded that I do it.
Yes.
He then spent the next hour telling me I'd done it wrong and trying to sand away a little bit to make it slightly smoother cut. I did say I'm not the best person at cutting with a straight line, but again, he didn't want it to be his fault, so he made it my fault. He said, squinting, checking the line, but it was all right in the end, wasn't it? But thankfully it wasn't your fault.
No, that was 100% blaming you.
Don't worry, but the only living thing that's ever going to see that wonky cut line that I made was a dog that Robert ran over.
I also go to the car.
But Robert has realised he can't continue in the spiral of bachelorhood, and Sarah's taking Robert away before the authorities do. I spoke to Sarah about Robert. She's looking forward to improving him, and she has a short list of things she's going to change about Robert. Obviously, Sarah loves Robert very much, and they've both improved each other's lives since they've met. I'm sure Robert will turn out to be a loving and caring and loyal husband. You smacked him a few times. A bit like a good dog, but less obedient.
Or less flat.
Less small.
I do like hacking from the audience. Could I ask you to charge your glasses? Well, you've already got them. And be upstanding as we have a toast to the happy couple.
Happy couple.
You can sit down here, yeah.
Who was next? Was that me?
Has anyone else got a speech lined up?
No, I think it was just me.
Nigel, have you got a spare lecture you can give about Robert?
That's cruelty to people, that is.
Leave him alone. Okay.
To introduce you this one.
Pardon?
You want to introduce everyone's speech?
And now, the groom himself is going to give us a short speech. Robert, because it wasn't his fault, hasn't brought any notes with him.
It was completely my fault.
But it wasn't his fault, obviously. It means somebody else's.
Relatively.
Robert.
Well, thank you all for coming, obviously, on this day, very rainy day, very similar to last year. I want to say thank you to Nigel for the loveliness that's here. So thank you to you. Yes. Thank you to Janice and to Mum, to Dee, and everyone that's helped, and the bridesmaids for sorting Sarah out with everything. I know there's very many things with that, but I have no idea because I'm a man. So I've been told I'm supposed to have presents for bridesmaids, but I'm not conventional, so I haven't got anything, I'm afraid, other than my endearing thanks. However, I have got Ben a present if you'd like to come and put all of your services to me. So thank you.
Yeah.
There was an incredible amount of work behind the scenes, both Ben Nigel, but mainly Ben, trying to organise all of this and get everything in order and put everything where it is. And probably 20 phone calls over last weekend when we were finalising the final things. So thank you for
Robert was upset at me yesterday. He's trying to telephone me while I'm driving, or rather Facebook video call me when I'm driving, which strangely enough doesn't come through to the car. And then he calls me rude for not answering.
I'm not rude.
That's because he basically spends all his time on the phone in the car. Drives and talks.
So, yes, thank you, Ben. I really appreciate it.
Pay attention to road and fire safety.
Exactly.
Thank you for this.
All right.
It does make me quite clear why you were looking at my whiskey selection yesterday.
I
You
was
didn't like
concerned.
Joe,
Ben, I must say, is a very picky person to pick whiskey for, because he has many bottles of whiskey in his cupboard. I'm hoping that this will do the trick.
I was just discussing with Nicola earlier about whiskies, and we both agreed that a supermarket overbrand can actually be very good.
Yeah.
So,
Save some a lot of money, lots of Sainsbury's own then, couldn't I?
Ian, is it Aldi or is it Lidl?
Little.
Yeah, Lidl's all right.
So, and I think we do all need to raise a toast to Sarah and to how gorgeous she looks. So if you'd like to stand and make a toast to Sarah, that would be great. So, to you, my loving wife.
Thank you.
Sarah! Many happy years together, and as Rachel said, adventures. So, cheers, darling. Love you.
Do it again.
Do what again?
Toasting.
Cheers, darling. Love you. So, the plan going forward is doing some cake cutting. And we have lots of cake to go around, don't you worry about that. There is still more free booze if you want to help yourself, help yourself. And then shortly after we'll be doing the disco. Disco's in the other room. And then Nigel's got a surprise for all of you. Although it's not a surprise because I put it in the leaflet. So, thank you all for coming. As I say, thank you very much to all of you for coming and all your hard work. Oh, hold on a minute. The bride has spoken. Right.
Is it?
Yes. Okay. Okay. Sarah's more conventional than I. Let me just start by saying that. Right, you need to go and talk to them then and tell them what you're doing. Right, I didn't listen to anything you said, but I think
It's fine, don't worry,
That's not fresh then, is it?
Can I just say thank you very much for you all joining me here. It's an absolutely amazing day, and everyone who's helped Robert with the venue and stuff, it looks absolutely great. Couldn't thank you all enough. Mandy, can I please have you up here? Join me, please. And the box. And the box.
Oh, and the box, yes, of course, the box. I know the box, yes. There you are, darling.
That's the right one.
Yes.
This little present for you, alright? Thank you.
That's
brilliant, Natalie. You can open it now. You can open it now. Yeah, there's a little something in there for you, alright?
While she does that, also when the disco starts, there'll be the dancers first.
You can open it now, you can open it later.
What kind of dances?
The wedding dances.
That went on.
I bet you'll always feel like dancing.
Yeah. Charlie, can I have you please come and join me? There's a little bag. Charlie, other side.
Suddenly we're at an auction house.
Can I have jeans, please? Thank you. What are you doing? Alright. Dean, can you please come and join me?
Oh.
Oh. Elisa, can you please come and join me? Will you stop? Selena, can you please please. You both bloody helped. Did it? What'd you do? You started
Support
driving
you
the
is what
machine.
you have.
I'm driving up here after a stressful day at work.
Thank you. Alright. No, you're alright. Thank you very much. And thank you for coming, alright? Alright. Thank you. And then, Dad. So please have you. Yes, I do, thanks.
Make us cry again.
Smart issues.
Thank you very much, everyone, and yeah, please enjoy drinks and food and yeah.
We'll cut the cake. You'll cut the cake. That's your job, is it?
No, it's
So in other words, come and join us at the cake, and we'll cut the cake together.
Yeah, don't let Robert loose with a knife though.
I'm got used to it, alright? Don't worry.
Pull back down.
Ceremonial cake cutting night.
Thank you ever so much. I'll write the lady. Are we cutting the pot?
And then,
So we're better going down to the side.
I've got a big knife.
Yes, we have. Yeah, where's the knife?
Nigel's guessed it. Can someone assist my child get a drink, please? Selena, could you just get out your drink, please?
What's Selena? We need to go around the
Nigel fetches the Oh, what? Hold on.
Whoops, get out of the way. It is sharp enough to touch it. That's looking on most things.
Yay! Who are we?
That is ridiculous.
I got one sword out. What sword?
So that's for you to keep for later on.
Right, does anyone know where the rock cake is?
I was going to say, where's the actual rock cake?